We reached an important milestone for Xbox and long-term plans for its cloud service, also known as xCloud. Join us for how Xbox Cloud Gaming is affected by the FTC block of Activision Blizzard deal. It is CDO Daily. Let's get into this one. What's up, people? What's up, people? It's your boy MM2K of PNTS Network and CloudDosage, back again with another CDO Daily. Before we get into this one, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when we're dropping these doses. We appreciate all of y'all. Straight up, you know the deal, you know the reason, and by now y'all should know the slogan: we are not too proud to ask. Okay, let's get into this one. All right, so there is a lot of things going on with this Microsoft and Xbox proposed buyout of Activision Blizzard. So for those of you that are not familiar with what's going on, let's break it down. Then we're going to get into the public and community reaction to everything that's happening. And then I'm going to give my thought before we close out. So first and foremost, again, Microsoft and Xbox proposed a $68 billion buyout of Activision Blizzard, I believe back in 2021. It is the largest buyout in gaming history, only following the previous largest in gaming history buyout, which was of Bethesda at $7 billion. And Microsoft had did that just a year prior. Though this is a huge milestone for this particular deal as far as how large it is in gaming history, gaming business history. It's going through so many hurdles. I mean, we got EU regulatories, the CMA, and now the US FTC, Federal Trade Commission, trying to block this deal. They voted to block it, the measure that is, based upon concerns of monopoly power. I'm going to get more into that later on in this video. Now, this has caused a stir and debate in the financial, but mainly the gaming world. All right. So that's should get us all caught up now to the story that's going on with this FTC versus Microsoft or Xbox blocking the ABK deal, as it's referenced to. All right, so here's the reaction from the public about these chain of events. So it is universally agreed from those that are in support of this deal and those that aren't, that due to these roadblocks from these regulators, Microsoft and Xbox are likely going to have to make concessions. In a peculiar fashion to me, though, and I'll get more to this in my opinion part, Microsoft is making concessions. That's not a problem, but they're focusing the concessions based upon the arguments and the opposition from another fellow industry company, which is PlayStation, which is a competitor of theirs. PlayStation is setting their gripes all about Call of Duty and all this other stuff, and I'm not totally buying the whole Call of Duty argument. Even supporters of PlayStation are not totally buying the Call of Duty argument. I think the bigger roadblock is the broader block from the FTC in regards to monopoly power, not so much Call of Duty. But for some reason, Microsoft is focused on the opposition statements from PlayStation about Call of Duty. So they've offered concessions in the realm of signing 10-year deals with Steam and Nintendo. And the latest is rumored that they would be allowing Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus. So, you know, the original thought that these games, Bethesda and APK games, would be coming exclusively to Game Pass as a subscription service, they have now opened the door only to PlayStation Plus on that, and they said that they would allow COD on PlayStation Plus. And many feel that these concessions are suffice or maybe even over the top, and Microsoft is getting too desperate, you know, especially with that last rumored one about COD being on PlayStation Plus. Others feel that it's bigger than Call of Duty because, and a lot of Xbox supporters have stated this isn't just coming from me. They feel like that the opposition is bigger than what PlayStation is harking about because Microsoft and Xbox misled about Bethesda. What am I talking about? Well, Xbox had said prior to closing the Bethesda deal that they didn't have an incentive to keep games exclusive to Xbox and not put them on other platforms. And then a week after they closed the deal, they went and sat in some Bethesda teleconference to the whole world and told all the gamers that this deal is about making games exclusive, making these Bethesda games exclusive to Game Pass. So that's in contrast to what they were alluding to certain regulatories prior to closing the deal. Here are my thoughts, and y'all know me. This is why I do this. Because as usual, the public focus is in totally the wrong area. As I alluded to in the previous section, this is beyond Call of Duty. PlayStation is just doing what they can to smack the aluminum cans and cause ruckus to disrupt this deal as much as they can, because this is a competitor. And PlayStation and Microsoft's rivalry is a bitter one. Microsoft at times may have tried to play kumbaya with PlayStation, but at the end of the day, PlayStation is not having it. They are totally against Microsoft accelerating in any shape, form, or fashion. So they're just going to throw their 2 cents in it and to throw a monkey wrench into it any way that they can. But those are my personal thoughts on it. But me personally, I think the problems again with this deal are way beyond PlayStation's rhetoric about Call of Duty. This is about the law, all right? And the established tendencies from Xbox. What am I talking about? Well, there's 2 parts to this. The first part is regarding the law. A block can simply happen over a company obtaining monopoly power, not so much the 100% verification that a monopolistic move is going to happen. What am I talking about? Listen to this video.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the free market, but the law is written such that it says, if you're a monopoly or if you have monopolistic power, you're not allowed to use that power to gain an unfair advantage in an adjacent or dependent market. It looks like that would be the case here. In fact, it's kind of the whole justification for the purchase. So that Activision user, that Activision user base, the Call of Duty user base. I mean, I understand why they're interested in Activision, right? They want that Call of Duty user base. They're a couple 100 million, real-time 3D. It's basically a narrowly defined version of what we've been talking as the metaverse, right? So if they could generalize that, right, with other applications, wow, that would be a fantastic property to own, both content, technology, and user base. So I understand why they would want to do it, and at the same time, because it is effectively a duopoly for living room consoles, right, non-mobile platforms. They have the way that I think it's written is, they have monopolistic power. So they don't have to have an absolute monopoly.
All right. Now that you've heard that video, the second tier is Xbox's penchant to abuse the power. Even if Microsoft were to get this monopolistic power and people were able to somewhat successfully argue, well, they're not going to do anything. Microsoft would never do that, right? Well, the second part of it is they kind of gave the perception that they would, true or not. That's the perception that they gave. Perception is 9/10 of the law. You know what I mean? As far as when people are making a decision when it comes to things that you could possibly do. All right. And let me show you now this article, which again shows what Microsoft said after they closed the deal, opposed to what they were telling some regulators, that they didn't have an incentive to keep things exclusive. All right, so now that we've gone over both tiers, here are my final thoughts. If Microsoft is to have a chance they need in order to close this deal, what they need to do is focus beyond Call of Duty and ensure the following things. A, name already multi-plat games, have a list of them already there, and the ones that are already established, and clarify and concede that those titles are not going to be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. I'm talking about games like Elder Scrolls and the Wolfenstein games or anything else where the franchise has shown up on previous consoles or platforms. I'm not talking about, as Xbox calls it, the legacy games like Elder Scrolls Online and things like. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the entire Elder Scrolls franchise, the entire Wolfenstein franchise, Fallout, not just Fallout 76, but the other Fallout games, Fallout 5, whatever. Those games would have to be continued on other platforms. And then when you get to Activision Blizzard, we're talking about Overwatch and Diablo, all those heavy hitters that are already multiplat. They would have to name all those multiplat games and assure that those games would remain multiplat. Secondly, B, they would have to establish that any concessions made in regards to those games that will remain multiplat, that have historically been multiplat before, that they will also be multiplat on a diverse group of cloud platforms as well. This is key. Why is this key? Because part of the FTC's complaint is that Microsoft is looking to make these deals to block any iterations of these games coming on other cloud platforms. And they see that cloud gaming is going to be an emerging market. So they feel like they already know what Microsoft's MO is, that they're making all these concessions to Nintendo, to PlayStation, to Steam, because they don't feel like that those are going to be their main competitors down the road. Microsoft has said it themselves. They already spilled the tea on themselves. They are worried about groups like Amazon, no longer Google, but groups like Amazon or whoever that are heavily investing in the cloud space. They want these games to be off of those platforms, so as cloud gaming gets bigger in the future, they ain't got to worry about those games. They can suffocate those other platforms out of the space because they won't have the top tier games. As I heard from somebody really close to Microsoft, the thought process is they want to buy up all the games out of the market. So the thought from anybody else competing in the cloud space is, why even bother? That's a monopolistic attitude. That is what the FTC is fighting against, period. And that is a problem. You know what I'm saying? So finally, I feel if these concessions are not met, the only way for this deal to go through is via some sort of division split. Now, what am I talking about? Now, back in 2000, this isn't too crazy, because back in 2000, a judge had ordered Microsoft as a whole that they had to be broken up into two companies because of what they felt like was the monopolistic nature of its conduct in the late 90s. And that only got appealed and reversed after the judge that rendered that decision originally in 2000 was caught saying some crazy things on, in the public or in the news about Microsoft, and it seemed like that the lawyers were able to argue that there was some type of bias against Microsoft, and the judge had called them drug traffickers, a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So the ruling got appealed, but I don't think under these circumstances you're going to have judges that crazy ruling over this. And I don't think under these circumstances that a split, not as severe as the one that was ordered in 2000, but a split is that out of reality. What am I talking about? If they fail to make the concessions that I presented in options A and B, then I think what's going to have to happen in order for this deal to go through is C. The Xbox platform, which consists of the console, the PC, the cloud, and possibly mobile in the future, they're going to have to operate separately from Microsoft Studio, which houses these franchises, right? So you're going to have the platform maker, which is Xbox. Xbox is the platform. Xbox is the delivery system, whether it's via console, whether it's via cloud, whether it's via PC, whether it's via mobile. That's the delivery system. That's going to have to operate autonomously from Microsoft Studios that houses these games, right? And Microsoft Studios, again, operates as an autonomous third party detached from Xbox, Other third-party platforms then would be granted access to their games, so Microsoft Studios would then become a third-party publisher. And Xbox, like other third-party platforms, would have to negotiate for Game Pass or other Xbox platform exclusivity. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is not too far off based upon the happenings of 2000. This isn't even as severe, is because what I'm saying in this proposal is this split would happen and still be regulated under Microsoft, but they're two totally autonomous divisions of Microsoft. One is their main job is to make and earn money and grow the business based off of just the platform, the supplier of the game, and the maker of the game, the distributor of the game, and the publisher of the game rather, would be Microsoft Studio. I can see that happening then, because then you're forcing a situation to where things are more transparent, operations are more transparent. It's not going to be easy for Microsoft to keep things exclusive that they've alluded to that they wouldn't keep exclusive and all this stuff. They would be able to do that still. They would still benefit from publishing these games under Microsoft and developing these games under Microsoft, as well as a delivery system for games for Game Pass, which would be a subscription model that they can make money from, and the PC market and the console market and so forth. So with that said, and the services that are attached to them, of course, like Xbox Live with Gold, Game Pass, whatever other services they come out with, xCloud, you know what I mean? All the services attached to the delivery system, they can operate autonomously, still under Microsoft, make money for the company, and find ways to be lucrative that way. I think that's, those are the three options, A, B, and C being a little bit more drastic, but with the split. Otherwise, it may be a long, disappointing battle for the company. We'll continue regardless to watch this space. Let us know what you think about all this in the comment section below, because like I always say, who cares what I think? But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, the CloudDosage. With all that said, peace. Have a wonderful gaming day.